Hey guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with a recommendation video for my favorite kind of hero. I've been really obsessed with these kind of heroes lately, and I've been reading such amazing books with this kind of hero in them, and that is Obsessive and Smitten heroes. That means the hero is obsessed with his woman and is not afraid to admit that he loves her. He's not afraid to pursue her. He is normally the one who is all in the relationship first, and the heroine is the one that's more resistant. I just love it when the guy is like, I love you. No question about it. I want you. I love you. And so these are all romances with that kind of hero. So I will go ahead and get to them. And this was inspired by a couple books that I've read recently. I'm literally obsessed with these books right now, and I need to rave about them to you. The first one is by literally a new favorite author of mine, and I want to read everything she's written now. This one I listened to on audio, could not stop, and that is Forget Me Not by Kiwi Tyler. This one is an amnesia romance, but it's contemporary and it's a marriage and trouble romance. I will say there's cheating in here, so if that is a hard no for you, skip this because that's delved into a lot. But we are dropped in the story when our hero and heroine are literally like months out from their divorce. They haven't been living together, they're both seeing other people, and then the hero gets into a car accident and he loses his memory of the past 2 years. So in his mind, they are still madly head over heels in love with each other, and he is so confused why she's acting kind of standoffish and very just like uninterested in him, and he's like, what are you doing? Come here. And she's like, what are you talking about? And so he is the one who cheated on her, and there's also trigger warning for miscarriage and fertility issues in here. I feel like a lot of marriage and trouble romances do have that conflict between the couple in it, so this one does. I want you to be aware going in because it is very integral to the storyline, and he's obsessed with her. He is like, there is no way I would cheat on you. You are literally the love of my life. The chemistry in this book, amazing, because he has to stay with her so she can watch over him because he does have a concussion, and so she needs to like take care of him, so they're living together again. This is so good. Of course, he's kind of seeing someone in the present, and he's like, does not want anything to do with her. He's like, I'm in love with my wife. You need to get out of my life. And so he was just like utterly obsessed with her and madly in love with her. And like I said, the chemistry was just off the charts in here. I loved it. They have to learn to work things out. So good. I was obsessed. I could not put it down, so I would definitely recommend this one. The next one's actually a really fun one that I recently picked up. I've read the first 2 in the series. I think there's 5, and they're all really shorter novellas, so it's about a little over 100 pages. It's The Risk by S.T. Abbey. It's a pen name. It does spell out Stabby. If you like Criminal Minds, you're gonna love this because he is an FBI profiler. I think he works for the FBI. He's just a criminal profiler, so he works with hunting down serial killers and understanding who they are as people and as criminals. And our heroine, she's really great at profiling too, but she's actually a serial killer herself, but she is hunting down men who wronged her in her past. So something really bad happened in her past. We don't fully understand what it is yet still. I've read the first 2 books and I don't think they've told us what happened, but she is hunting every single one of the men down and brutally torturing and murdering them. And she's doing it because of what they did to her. And it's great, and the agent, this criminal profiler, sees her at a coffee shop, really likes her, gives her his card, and she kind of really likes him, and he is absolutely smitten. He's like, you're so perfect. I just want to spend all my time with you. You're so patient and understanding. A lot of times he's gone for like 4 or 5 days at a time working on a case, and like he comes back, can only spend like 6 hours at home sleeping, and then has to go right back to work, and she's so understanding. He says, you are perfect. Like, how are you so perfect? And she's like, I'm not. And she has this like murder room in her home that's like behind the wall of another room that she always keeps locked, that has her like plans that she's a serial killer, and he is working on her case too, but there's this other case he's working on that's intertwining with their relationship, but he's obsessed with her. It's so good. I'm obsessed. I can't wait to read book 3. I've been doing like 1 a week, and I'm probably just gonna like fly through the last few because it's so good. Next, I feel like I always included this author's books, but it's The Forbidden Man by Karina Halley. This one is an age gap. She's older. She just recently divorced her husband, who was a soccer coach. She was a physical trainer for the soccer team, but because they did break up, I think he cheated on her. I don't remember fully, but she's not getting back together with him. She's like, absolutely no way. And she ends up moving to Madrid, working for their soccer team, and the hero is one of the soccer players. He's in his 20s, and he is immediately like, I like you. I want you. And he is so adamant about the fact that he finds her attractive. He really likes her. He wants to spend more time with her. She's much more hesitant because her job's on the line, because they aren't allowed to date people who are on the team. And she is also older. So she's like, you have like your whole life for you. Like, you're at that place in your life where you want to just party all the time, live it up. I'm reaching 40, I think is how old she was. And so she's like, or unless she is already 40, I don't remember her age exactly, but she's like, we're at different places in our lives. And he's like, I don't care, I want you. And so slowly she starts to like accept the fact that they have an attraction and that it might work out, and it's great. I loved it. He just was so adamant that he's like, I just like you. And she's like, no, I'd probably like get along more with the older player on the team. And he's like, it's me. So this one's great. I loved it. I would definitely recommend this one as well. I do have a couple historical romances on here, and this one I literally finished yesterday, and I had my live show on my channel with Samantha, Lacey, and Lisa for the Historical Hellions. That's Then Came You by Lisa Kleypas. This is book 1 in the series. Dreaming of You is book 2. I know everybody's obsessed with Derek Craven. Derek was in this book and I really liked him, but this is Lily and Alex's story. It is enemies to lovers. So they start off detesting each other. Alex cannot stand Lily. He's engaged to her sister. He lost his betrothed before. She was in a riding accident and like broke her neck on the way down, so he is terrified of falling in love again, and so he's ready to just settle down with someone who's just going to be pleasant and he can grow old with. And so he's like, Penelope is perfect for that. She's just very docile and will do what a good wife should do. She's really in love with our other friend Zachary, and so she's trying to plot a way for Zachary and Penelope to get together. She never wants to get married. She wants her freedom. She's very eccentric. She had been not with her family for a while. She kind of was ostracized from her family, and she just has a lot of personality, and Alex cannot stand her. But then he becomes obsessed with her and so smitten with her, and he doesn't even want her as a mistress. He's like, you're gonna marry me because you are mine. And I love that. He says, I love you first. He's just obsessed with her, and she is very hesitant. She's had her heart broken twice by men, and that's why she's like, no man is ever gonna be good enough for me. But then, you know, he's adamant that he's like, no, we're gonna be there for each other. You're mine. So I loved his character. I loved how smitten he was by the end, and I would definitely recommend reading this. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. Then I have 40 Love by Olivia Dade. I recently read this. I gave it 4 stars. This isn't something for everybody. It's very, I feel like, low angst, and I've seen a lot of mixed reviews for it, but it's just very sweet. Our heroine is a plus size woman, and so she's in the ocean in her bikini, and a wave comes by and kind of takes her top off, and so she's horrified. She is a principal, or she's trying to become a principal and get a principal job, and so she's like, I can't risk this, like, oh my gosh, I need like saving. And so this young guy's on the beach and she waves him down. She's like, help me, and he does, and he happens to be the tennis trainer at the club that she's like at a resort, at the resort she's staying at, and he is younger than her, and he's in his 20s. He was a professional tennis player, but he got injured, so now he's just a coach teacher at this resort, and he's instantly like, I like this woman. And she is very adamant that they shouldn't be together, much more so than the forbidden man. She thinks like he is way too immature, way too young, hangs out with all these young people, doesn't know what he's doing with his life. So I know a lot of people were annoyed with her by that. I think it's kind of realistic. It always reminds me of, if you've watched Love is Blind, Jessica on there and Mark. I think it was Mark. She was just like so hung up on the fact that he was younger than her, and she was obsessed with their age gap, and that was annoying. This wasn't as annoying as that was to me, but she is just like, we're at such different places in our lives. It would never work outside of here. She has a job to go back to. He doesn't even know what he's doing with his life. And so I really enjoy this because he did the sweetest things for her. Like at one point she got her period and he was trying his best to like help her with it. And I think he has younger sisters, and he's like, well, what did they enjoy? And was trying to like make her feel better. It was so cute. I really enjoy this one. The next one I have, my book's up there, but I forgot to write it down, but it is Winds of the Storm by Beverly Jenkins. And in this one, it is a spy romance. So our heroine actually rescues our hero in the very beginning of the book, and she is like this famous spy, and she saved his life because he was kidnapped, and they never saw each other again. And then now she is working at a brothel as a madam, and she always wears a veil over her face in public, and she's working to try to get information from the enemy side, and they meet and he's instantly attracted to her, and he does end up figuring out who she is, but she is very adamant that they can't be together, and he is much more willing to sacrifice things for the relationship than she is. She just doesn't think they'll ever be able to be together, and he's like, no, I really want to make it work. And so the story goes from there, and it's really sweet, and she tries her best not to fall for him. She knows who he is. He doesn't know who she is at the beginning, but I enjoyed this one. I really liked how he was much more willing to start a relationship with her than she was and have a future than she was, and then she kind of slowly started to accept that they could have a future together. So this one was a fun historical spy romance. Then I have, it's like mutual smitten, and that is Office Hours by Katrina Jackson. This one, our hero and heroine are both professors, and our heroine is severely overworked, and she has so many classes to do, and she has a lot of work and research that she has to do. And so we have this other professor that she's always kind of had a crush on, and then they figure out that they like each other, and it goes from there, and it's just sweet. They just really like each other, and he's not afraid to say that he likes her, and they go out together, and they're just exhausted working together. But if you like an office romance at a college setting, I really enjoyed this one. Then I can never find this book on my shelves. I don't remember where I put it, and every time I do this video, I have a general idea where all my books are, but this book I can never find it. I know I own it, but it is Transcendence by Shay Savage. This one is a caveman romance. Our heroine time travels back to like caveman days, and he is just immediately like, you're mine, and he is so obsessed with her and protective of her and tries to make her happy and do anything he can to make her happy. They can't communicate to each other. He doesn't speak English. He doesn't have the capacity to communicate with language, and she is trying to deal with the fact that she just time traveled back to a caveman era. But he's like a cinnamon roll hero. He is just obsessed with her, making her happy, providing for her, and he wants nothing but happiness for her. So I really loved this romance where he was just willing to do anything for her. Then this one I've recommended a couple times. That is Wraith by Rebecca Weatherspoon. The reason I love this book is because it's a male nanny romance. It's a buff male nanny romance. Our heroine is a doctor, I believe, and she has twin daughters, and her recent babysitter quit, and so she is just in a bind. She needs someone, and so in comes Wraith, and he gets along super well with her daughters, and there's just like no question there's an attraction between them. And what I loved is he sits down with her and he's like, I'm attracted to you and we need to figure this out. And so he's just like open and saying like, I like you, I want you, and I don't think we can continue working together without figuring this out. And like there's mutual attraction. She liked him too, and she was like, okay, and they go from there. And I just love a hero who is not afraid to talk about his emotions and not afraid to acknowledge that there's an attraction there and that they like each other. And so I love that he just put it all out there. There was no dancing around, there's no miscommunication. He's just like, I like you and we need to do something about it. So this was a lot of fun. I really liked it. I loved our heroine as a single mom and a successful doctor. She was amazing. I really liked it. Then this one I also loved because he was just so smitten with her. It is the Happy Ever After playlist by Abby Jimenez. Our heroine loses her fiance and she is just devastated and grief-stricken, and then she finds a dog and she's trying to find who it belongs to. It belongs to Jason, and he is actually on tour with his band, and someone was watching his dog, and now he's like, well, what the heck? And so he wants his dog back, but they text each other, so it's kind of epistolary. They get to know each other through text, and then they meet, and the meet is really funny. Like things don't go as planned when he like decides to meet her for the first time, and it's so sweet because he's like, I just love sitting with her. I love just being in her presence. I want to be around her all the time. And obviously she has a lot to overcome because she is still very grief-stricken over losing her fiance, but he is so patient and just so in love with her. I love a hero like that. I also really do enjoy a rock star hero, so that really does play into the relationship, whether they can make it work while he's on tour and traveling. So I love this book so much. The next one, my sister is actually starting the audiobook, and I was like, it's so good, and that is On the Way to the Wedding by Julia Quinn. This is the last book in the Bridgerton series. I absolutely loved it. Gregory's our hero. He is a little child in the show right now and in the first book, but it is time for his romance. And because he's seen all of his siblings fall in love, he is the opposite of his brothers. He's like, I need love. I want that love. I want an all-consuming, amazing love. So he falls in love at first sight with this woman, and he's like, I want her. She's perfect. She's mine. He's never talked to her really. It's just he sees her and is like, okay, that's my love. That's the love of my life. And so he enlists the help of her best friend, and he's like, will you help me get her? Hermione's the woman he's in love with, and Hermione's best friend is Lucinda, or Lucy, and so Hermione's actually in love with someone else, and Lucy's like, that's never ever gonna work out. And so she agrees, and it's actually Lucy and Gregory's romance. We get in the prologue though that Gregory's trying to break up a wedding. And we don't know whose wedding it is, but he's like, I love you, don't marry him. And so we know there's a wedding that needs to be broken up, that Gregory's in love with someone, and we know he's gonna fall in love with Lucy though. So it's so good because by the end, he does become absolutely smitten and will do anything in his power to have this woman marry him. There are a lot of conflict and dramatics going on, but he is like, no, you're mine. We are destined to be together. I love you. Let's be together, which is the opposite of like every one of his brothers in the series. They're all so jaded and take forever for the romance to happen, but he's all in, and I loved it. And the last one I have, I feel like, is not every book in the series, but a lot of them, and that is the Planet Barbarians series. I had to include this because so many of our heroes are so smitten with the heroines. They are like, you're my mate. I feel like a lot of Fated Mates book have this too, where they are just like, we're literally destined to be together. We are fated mates, and they will do anything to protect and be with their loved one. And in their alien romances, the women all crash land on this planet because they were kidnapped by other aliens, and they have to have this Quee put inside of them so that they can survive on that planet, like, or else they would die. And the Quees like match with people, and they like hum and vibrate when you're with your match. And it's mostly like the guys are mating with them. Some of them do have alien women with like other alien men. Those aren't my favorite. I really do love the alien man with the human female, and a lot of times the females are like kind of resistant. They're like, you're literally an alien. Some of them want that because they want companionship and they see the other women falling in love, but it's really fun because the men have to be patient, and some of them do like kidnap them because they see that they're their mate. But it's fun. I really enjoy the series, and the men are just really smitten with their women. And that is my obsessive and smitten hero romance recommendations. Let me know if you have any more of these. I just love it when the man is just like, I'm in love and you're gonna be mine. I love that. I love it when there are no games and the guy is just like okay to express his emotions. Let me know your recommendations down below, and as always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day.